Yo, what's going on, gamers, and welcome back to the Consortium. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. Tonight, guys, we have another update video, except I'm doing it a little bit different. In the past, I have showed you the actual patch notes, but I thought that seemed like it was getting a little boring, so I was going to do the update over some recent gameplay. And again, this patch was huge, guys. It is 1.71 patch, and it includes both Battle Royale and PvE updates. I'm just going to be going over the Battle Royale updates in this video, and either later tonight or tomorrow I will be hitting the PvE update. So let's get right into it, guys. The first thing they talk about are cheaters. Obviously, if you're on PC, you've noticed that cheating has been a very big problem, and that it's just annoying to play the game currently as it is. They also mention their previous update that they put out a little bit ago about cheating. If you want to go look that up, I'll have the link down below. But basically, they say they are doing stuff about cheaters, but they don't want to say what it is because it makes it easier for the cheaters to get around it. The next thing they go into is stats. They are going to put stats into the game for Battle Royale tomorrow. It is going to be backfilled. I assume that means it's going to be backfilled all the way back to the launch of Battle Royale. It does not mention, but the point is we will be able to see stats from our previous games, which I'm stoked about because it's always nice to see what you're doing and see what you can improve on, and just get a general idea of your play. The next thing they go into is the gameplay. The first thing they talk about is they increased the travel movement of the battle bus and increased skydiving velocity in order to offer an alternative strategy to jumping out the bus at the first possible moment, which currently that's pretty much how everybody played. Even when you were jumping to positions further away from the start of the bus, it was just best to jump at the beginning. Well, now that's going to change. They increased the battle bus movement speed by 50%, and they increased the skydiving terminal velocity, which means straight down, from 4,000 to 6,000. This now makes deciding where to jump a lot more strategic, because if you decide to jump directly over a point, you're going to be able to hit terminal velocity and go down a lot faster. Or you can make the decision to jump earlier, but you're going to get to whatever your destination is at a slower speed. Next thing they talk about is the storm safe zone will now close completely instead of holding at that very small 10 centimeter radius. That means that you can't have any of these clips we've seen where people are built up in the air and nobody's dying because they're sitting in that little circle. It's just going to be, if that happens, whoever dies first is obviously going to lose, and whoever has more health is going to win. Next, you have players can search supply drops without interruption from storm damage. They've improved the pre-game warm-up UI. They fixed the glider occasionally not auto-deploying. So all these times when you see people dive and hit the ground without deploying, that is no longer going to work. And I'm excited about this because while it was a cool glitch, it's not cool that it was unfair to certain people and to others. When you're playing a PvP game, when it's balanced and fair is when you get the best gameplay. The next thing they dive into is the weapons. And of course, they had that update about a week ago where they talked about the damage differences that they made, how the semi-auto sniper does more damage now, decreased scoped assault rifle damage. You can go back and look at those if you have not seen those. I did make a video on that. And then they also changed for this patch, they fixed an issue that prevented explosive weapons from damaging supply drops. So that does mean explosive weapons can blow up a supply drop now. Fixed a bug that caused the pump action shotgun to double fire, which this caused a lot of issues for me. I wouldn't use the pump action shotgun, so hopefully it's usable now. They fixed a bug where grenades wouldn't deal damage. That always sucked when you throw a grenade and it just wouldn't go off. Kind of screwed you over. Fixed an issue where it caused bullet impact effects only to be visible to players in the immediate vicinity. So this is actually going to be big because if people pay attention, they'll be able to see where shots are being fired from and where they're being fired to. So it's going to be a lot more important to be on your toes in all your matches. The next bug they fixed was the weapon reticle disappearing. That will no longer happen. Then they go ahead and they dive into the duos and squads. Eliminations are now awarded based on the player who downs the enemy and not the player who finishes them off. I actually think this is a good change because I used to play with a lot of people and we would just mess around with each other, but we would always try to get the kill on the guy that's down just to steal it from each other for fun. That's no longer going to happen, so we can't troll each other. But I do agree with this because the work is done by the person who does the downing and not by the person finishing off the kill. Next, they increased the health after being revived. That went up from 25 to 30, so you get a little bit more of a boost. And if you happen to have a shield when you go down, it will not block damage from someone shooting you when you're in that state. They also fixed the friendly fire damage, displaying the appropriate visual hit effects. They fixed the squad's finishing placement. If you noticed, it would tell you where you would have placed if you were in a solo match. They fixed that for squads. They fixed an issue which caused tires to bounce players that were down. I've seen that happen. It was actually quite hilarious, but that is no longer in the game. They also fixed the ability where traps would cause down players to jump. So if you had a jump pad and you moved over it as a down player, it would launch you, and that will no longer happen. They also fixed a few UI issues. There's now a report player button on the end of the match screen so you can report players more easily. Critical hit damage on shielded players is now displayed in blue, like other displayed shielded damage numbers. The color of each player's marker in a duo squad are consistent with everywhere they are displayed. The player indicators on the minimap now match the color the player was assigned. And then they also changed the item drop icon on the inventory screen from a trash can to a drop arrow. If you're on PC, you can now hold down shift before dragging an item to only drop one of those. Teammates will no longer show up as eliminated when loading in, and they fixed an issue that prevented eliminated players from entering text in the feedback form. Next thing they did is they made a few changes to the world. On the map, they now added labels to Tomato Town, Dusty Depot, and Salty Springs, and they added a few structures near Tomato Town. They added new potential chest and loot locations to the northernmost and southernmost wooden bridges over the river, so they'll add a little bit more loot. They also added some to Lonely Lodge and the container area to the west. They fixed basements that were being blocked, so you can now get in all basements. They fixed issues which caused trees to float above the terrain. They fixed some trees that couldn't be destroyed, and then they just have some general bug fixes and improvements to the world. And last but not least, they have some performance fixes. They fixed multiple issues which would cause a brief freeze in the game, which could be detrimental if you're in a firefight. They fixed a significant hitch that occurred when the last player was eliminated from the game. They fixed a hitch which would occur after the battle bus skydiving phase completed. And they reduced hitching on PlayStation 4, which is great for PlayStation 4 players. Then they fixed a few audio issues, addressed multiple issues which cause sound to only come out of the left or right speaker, which that is terrible when you're listening to footsteps. I did not realize that was in the game, but now a few things that I've seen happen make more sense. They moved the battle bus ignition audio into pre-game warm-up, and then again they just had a few other general audio fixes. And there you have it, guys. That is the PvP update. Again, I said there's another half that's PvE that we'll be getting to later. Hopefully going through this update will help you guys out to know what's coming in the future and what's coming especially tomorrow with this patch. A lot of things that I'm excited for. I would like to know what you guys think down below. What changes are you most excited to see? Are there any that you're not excited to see? And again, if you liked the video, a thumbs up always helps out. And if you enjoy my content, a sub always lets me know. I always appreciate making content for you guys, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you ever need any help or have any questions, feel free to join our Discord server down below. And again, to all my brothers from another mother and all my sisters from another mister, I hope you guys all have a good one.